we're just chatting off the cuff here and talk about what they think about the program, because a lot of these guys I'd never met until I got here, right? We just met them, but it's been a blast. So we'll have folks introduce themselves, and we won't start with Sean, but we'll move over here. And so, who's this? Who's this guy?
I'm John. I'm the communications manager here at Twin City.
And?
I'm one of the DT4EMS instructors here. I've been an EMT for 13 years. I'm a critical care now, or they call it paramedic light. But
Paramedic light.
Yeah, paramedic light. But you know.
So what do those guys do?
We're not getting into that. Nothing much.
That's right. But I get a paycheck for doing nothing. So now, you said you've been in EMS for about 13 years?
Yes.
And you like Twin City? They've been pretty good to you? Of course,
here
it's
the
the boss and
entire
admin's here. You're going to act like he likes it. But, you know, what was your initial experience? I know we had Brett come up and do the initial class. You guys have a good time with that first of all?
Oh, absolutely. The initial class was great, and like I came from the mentality like defend yourself, and like first day I was like, holy crap. What a piece of crap EMT I used to be.
And now, you're a guy, and you're a big, strong dude, and you actually moved quickly for a big, strong guy. But do you think the information in the initial stuff, first of all, was worthwhile?
Oh, absolutely. There's so much stuff in there that just, gets you right in the heart.
Right in the feels.
Yeah.
And then but then you took the instructor stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't get tired at all during that?
No, not at all. I'm a young guy.
And then, Sean and Brian, apparently, you guys have done this conspiracy and started to bring in some of the advanced stuff. Did any of the initial stuff mean anything to the advanced?
Almost all of it was so much important, and if you didn't have a good solid foundation on the original class and the initial stuff, that you would have just failed today.
Not that you didn't shoot anybody or get shot, or
I only got shot. Well, I got shot a couple times.
And
I shot more people than I got shot. I know that.
But that's just because you had them with their eyes closed and went across the room and shot them for no reason. So, but anyway, does the stuff that we're doing, do you think it's applicable to EMS or healthcare?
Oh, absolutely. I think if you've ever had a doubt in your mind, you should definitely at least come to a day one class. What do you have to lose?
Yeah, right. Or it earned a lot of my respect instantly just from hearing it. But you actually went the EMT route and stuff like that first, though, too, right? And then became a physician.
Yeah, I actually was a basic EMT. I worked for Twin City as a EMT and an intermediate way back in the day, and then eventually came back as medical director.
We're EMT, and then you also took some law enforcement training. You're doing the medical direction thing. Legal, moral, ethical was the material that we present in both the initial and the advanced stuff. Did that appear to you, from what training experience that you have, to be legal, moral, and ethical, first of all?
Absolutely.
So,
and I think that it not only applies to being in the street working in an ambulance or in the law enforcement area, but it also is applicable in the hospital, in the emergency room setting, certainly, or I think everyday life on the street with your family, kids, things like that. And I think that one of the strong points of the training is that not only is it basic principles that anyone, regardless of their background, can pick up, but also that it crosses all the different parts of life, from professional to personal, from whether you're a big strong guy who works out all the time or a tiny petite woman with her kids walking down the street. The principles are easy enough to learn, and if you learn the fundamentals well, you can apply them in any situation that you encounter.
So who are you? What's your role and all that good sort of stuff?
I'm a paramedic and the CEO of Twin City Ambulance, and also a DT4EMS now, also advanced instructor, but a EV instructor, just general advocate.
And so as an administrator, do you even think, well, first of all, so it's obvious, and I don't think that people can really kind of tell it from a camera, but he's incredibly strong, very big, moves like a cat, but strength-wise, you would be able to handle pretty much most things that occurred on the street. I get that. However, as an administrator, would you say that the stuff, not only just moral, ethical, or even in the application of it, did it make sense at all? Do you look at it and go, not only just from the physical aspect, but from an administrative aspect, does it go, oh my gosh, why,
I think it probably made more sense to me originally from an administrative aspect than from a physical aspect. We trained this, the first contact was an 8-hour day with Brett. Brett was wonderful. It was a lot of classroom, a lot of sitting, a lot of engagement, a lot of discussion. Up, down, the physicality was there. But at the end of day one, Sean and I were talking, and I said to Sean, man, this is a customer service class that's masquerading as a self-defense class.
Correct.
And it really is. It really is all about tactics. It's all about being able to provide good customer service, about being nice, about never being in a position to escalate a situation to the point of physical confrontation. And if you can do that 99% and change of the time, you're going to be fine.
Because, was it not true then? And I just was going to ask, because you guys were, so everybody was here last night, right? And we did a little extra thing for, like a local training kind of an offering that you guys do. And did the thing that I've posted on the internet for several years now that says we get between 80 and 100% of the room admit the fact they faced a criminal assault, but only 2 to 3% ever admitted it.
Yeah,
or reported it to law enforcement or supervisors. Is that what we saw?
So we had 16 people in the room last night. 15 out of 16 had been victims of criminal assault. And out of those 15, 2 had reported it to law enforcement and supervisor. The other 15 had not.
So the number still stands. So that means that
88% had not reported it.
there you go. So we see it regularly. I mean, it's just an incredible, number, and then that should shock anybody, especially when you understand the truth of what really is going on, because these are wives, husbands, fathers, sons, daughters that are being attacked and told you just got to deal with that.
What
It's
do you
just
think
part
about,
of it.
the statistic that you show, 2013, Bureau of Labor Statistics says 23,000 criminal assaults in health.
Serious assaults, yep.
Right, 23,000, which
Yep.
seems like a big number, and it is a big number. And then think about the fact that only 90% of them were ever reported, 90% weren't reported. So 23,000 only represents 10%. You're actually talking about 230, 250,000
Correct.
serious assaults that occurred that 90% of them were never reported. So when you think about impact, and you and I talked about the video, your viral video for a little while last night, and you watch a little bit of it, and there's maybe 35 incidents. You see 35 incidents, then you realize in 10 seconds I saw 35 incidents. I really saw 700. And that's 700 of us. That's 700 EMTs and paramedics and doctors and nurses.
Because wait, we're not the young spring chickens we used to be, right?
Speak
And
for
now that you
yourself.
look back at the point is educated people going, you know what, maybe we need to change. So now that we talked to a bunch of educated people, we like education. So did that work? Was that perfect?
Oh, yeah.
So getting him over to Sean is what I meant. But so with Don.
I'm Don Turner. I'm the CQI manager here at Twin City. I'm also a paramedic. I've been in the EMS field for over 10 years.
And good-hearted dude, great. And did I kind of put you into a little pressure? Did we, bring you up and blister you in the face a few times? And as you're just stand up for just a second. The two of y'all stand up. So I don't think they get this. So
You got the back.
wait, hold on. Let me. We gotta get the right. So then, imagine now, Sean, were you ever trying to punch him in the face during class?
A couple times.
Okay, and so was Sean ever trying to punch you in the face? Did all this big bully? They were punching you in the face, right? And then, but the point was, it just had to become more real for you, so that you got a chance to see that. Oh my God, there's a difference in winning a fight. And if we were being honest, do you think if I was standing toe to toe with Sean or having to go toe to toe with him, and we're just in a fight, that I'm even going to stand a chance? They're too big, too strong, too powerful. So we wouldn't want you trading punches with them. That'd be kind of silly. But you were able to defend yourself, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, but physical, like you said. Or like we were talking about, you had already won because you didn't get taken. We weren't beaten. But self-defense is different than winning a fight then, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You got a lot of people that are scared to train for whatever reason. Do you have anything that you might mention to someone to go, look, what do you think? I mean, and again, this is pressure, man. We've been messing with your emotional roller coaster for days. But what would you say to someone about training, whether they use this or not, but what would you have them think about training for any type of self-defense in healthcare?
I think that the tactics shown in the class are almost more important than the techniques. You shouldn't have to use the techniques, but if the tactics fail, you shouldn't just think that you're going to lose because you're smaller or your size or stuff. If you do the techniques properly, you can manipulate more of the stronger individual or whatever, and you can get out of the situation.
Well, I'm the Director of Education here at Twin City Ambulance, which means I handle all of the training type stuff as the camera's moving around here.
To make it exciting.
I've been a medic for just over 20 years. I've been in the field for about 24 years total. I've also been an educator at the high school level as a high school teacher, and I have my degree in education. So my job now has been perfect because it helps me to blend my two strong areas of education and pre-hospital care together to kind of teach. if you think about the type of people we're dealing with on a regular basis in EMS, it's not always people who are in the right minds. And sure, I can walk into a room with my size and maybe intimidate people, and maybe someone looks and says, hey, I'm not going to mess with that guy just because he's big. But those are normal people who are not intoxicated, they're not on drugs, they're making good decisions. And certainly I don't look for those fights. I've never been that guy, but
That's obvious, by the way. You're very professional, very good dude. That's obvious.
thank you. But as you get into the profession and you get in the field there, you start to see, I've had people take a swing at me, as big as I am. I've been bitten. I wrote an article. I was bitten on a call when I was trying to help police restrain somebody, and I got a real good bite chunk out of my thumb.
See, I don't think people realize it though until they stand next to someone that's 6'10", or I mean, because that what it is, 6'10". What do you?
6'10".
6'10". So, and then, but I mean, because you're a big, strong guy, and then when you really, get that, it's like, holy crap. So then you're going, why would somebody want to bite that, or why does that guy need to even learn any self-defense? As an educator, anything you can think of?
Yeah, and I think Brian alluded to it earlier, is that the course itself, at least your course in DT4EMS, really is a customer service class. And in that respect, if you're an administrator looking for a course for self-defense, sure, you can go to any dojo or talk to any guy in the back room there who's been fighting in bars, and he can show you a bunch of chokes and takedowns and things. But in the way the course is set up for DT4EMS, you're getting that big forward push of customer service. How do we just avoid the fight? And we've all said, and Kip has said it, the easiest fight to win is the one you don't have. So, if you can train your staff to give good customer service, to keep their distance from somebody.
Yeah,
to
but we
try
wouldn't
to-
have hired him if they didn't have great customer service. So what seems to be the trouble?
Well, that changes over time. People
Really?
change, and from different situations to different situations, people can change just on a dime. I can be having a bad day. I might be the nicest, greatest customer service day ever. Maybe I lost my sister, maybe I had a bad day at the grocery store, or whatever it was, and for some reason I got on a call and someone just goads me a little bit, and all of a sudden I lose that perspective, lose my composure, and start to engage in that conversation, that argument, and that escalates things. So
But nobody in EMS ever does that.
never. I've never had a report of any of our employees or any employee ever doing that. But
There was an employee that you guys have here who, does the whole, well, I've never been assaulted, right? Been doing it 16 years, female paramedic, and she said that she'd never been assaulted. Is that correct? You guys remember that? And so here's a gal that in 16 years has never been criminally assaulted on the job, which is rare, because we just said, 80 to 100% have been, only 2 to 3% ever report it, but yet I'll travel the country and every once in a while I get one. And now that I've done the homework I have, there's a key that we said every single time, because you just said it again, but why do you think that employee has not been assaulted on the job in healthcare? Why? What was it we were talking about?
She's one of the nicest people that we've ever met, and Sean said it, you've said it, I said it. It's good customer service, and she is so kind, so invested, interested in the patient, and it comes across to the patient. And absent that rare circumstance of somebody who truly is violent, independent of a stimulus, the legitimate psychiatric emergency that there's no dealing with it and it comes as a surprise, she'll never be assaulted because nobody feels anger towards her. And it's really
Because it's hard you don't want to punch somebody in the face that's been nice and polite to you.
Right.
One of the hardest things that we fight across the country is when people are like, well, as soon as they hear customer service, they don't get it. They go, well, that's more of that stuff you're going to shove down our throat and go, well, we got to be nice and we can't, and they don't get it that customer service is a self-defense tactic. When you look at the end of the day, is it not? Because we have to protect in 4 areas: Mind Street, media, courts, and great customer service helps us in all 4, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.